If you're interested in learning how a rural retailer can build an Instagram empire, then this is definitely the podcast for you. I cannot wait to share with you Pip from Jumbled Online. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 83 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I really do appreciate you making me one of them. If you're a first-time listener, then hey, super welcome to you. I'm so pleased to have you here on the Small Business Made Simple podcast. I am, of course, the host, Jen Donovan, and it's my job via this podcast and social media and just about everywhere else that I hang out to make your business life simpler. I'm a thought leader when it comes to marketing here in Australia, and I'm a marketing strategist for small business. Why? Because I know that business can be lonely and hard and complicated, and look, it's rarely easy, but it should be simple, or at least simpler. So that's my commitment to you here on the so-called Small Business Made Simple podcast. One way I can make your business life a little bit simpler is if you come and join my Facebook group, Like-Minded Business Owners. It's a one-stop shop for asking questions, getting answers, enjoying the business journey with other like-minded business owners, and belonging to a great community. If you haven't joined already, head to Facebook and search Like-Minded Business Owners, or of course head to the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/83. This episode is actually sponsored by my 6-week mini mastermind. I absolutely love masterminds, and they are hands down one of the most incredible ways to build your business. Applications are still open, but only just as this podcast goes live, because of course we start on Monday, August 3rd. So if it's something that you're sitting on the fence with, and don't get splinters sitting on the fence, then I would really love for you to consider joining my 6-week mini mastermind to get some stuff done. Basically, 8 people, 6 weeks, 0 excuses for not getting stuff done. It's also a really great mix of community, definitely accountability, because that's something us small business owners lack, and one-to-one support from me, and you just might find your new business bestie. You can find all the information that you need for joining my 6-week mastermind at bit.ly, so bit.ly/mastermind with Jen, or of course head to the show notes, socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/83. All right, so today I have a magnificent and special guest. Her name is Pip, and she has Jumbled Online. I've never actually met Pip other than on Instagram, but she is about the only person that walks this earth that makes me still wish I was in retail. She is amazing. She has this marketing, branding, community, authenticity, culture thing just right. I am in awe of her. She makes me laugh, and I'm so often inspired by the energy and effort building her online community and business that she puts in. I also love her and her business because she's rural. Yep, she's based in Orange in New South Wales. Since creating my Buy From a Bush business Facebook group back in October 2019, I've really embraced more and more the fact that I live rurally. It was something that I often thought was to my detriment, but now I'm finding it's exactly where I need to be, and it's exactly what I need to be. So it was a delight to talk to this powerhouse of a rural woman. So if you're interested in learning how a rural retailer can build an Instagram empire, then this is definitely the podcast for you. So without waiting any longer, let's welcome Pip. Pip, I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today because not only are you an amazing retailer, but I absolutely love your Instagram. But for those who perhaps haven't come across your Instagram or your wonderful store in Orange, can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Thanks for having me, Jen. Yeah, so my name's Pip and I've got the Sonic in Orange in Central West New South Wales. And it's inside the Sonic, we renovated a big old Masonic hall and we've got a store called Jumbled, and Jumbled Online is our Instagram name and our website. And it's a home of coffee, fashion, homewares, art, color, everything that I love all under one roof. Really? Yeah.
And color is probably the operative word. Like your Instagram is just so colorful. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I just love color. It's not a conscious decision at all. It's just I don't know, it's just totally what I'm drawn to.
Yeah, right. So from looking from the outside in, that is right. I was going to say the opposite way.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
from the
yeah, yeah.
outside looking in, it looks like you're building a bit of a retail empire up there in Orange. But where did it all start for you?
Okay. When I was, look, it started when I was really young, really. My mum had a clothing store for 25 years in Orange, and it was a mecca back then for all the country women and the Sydney people to come shopping. And when I finished school, I decided to study fashion design at uni. And then when I finished uni, I decided I didn't want to be a fashion designer, that I wanted to open my own clothing store. So I'd worked in retail all the way through uni, and I just went to work for the best people and to learn from the best people. But really, mum was the greatest teacher of all.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was 21, I opened Igloo, my
Yep.
first clothing, well, not my first clothing store, my clothing store. And I opened that in Bathurst, which is just near Orange, because back then there weren't really many stores regionally selling cool clothing for young people. So yeah, like the first 3 years were really, really hard, like so hard. But then it just got, everyone said if you can survive those first 3 years, you'll be fine. And I feel like then I just started working. I think I worked out what worked and to stay true to what I like and love, rather than trying to be too much to too many people or trying to appeal to a certain person. But yes, I had Igloo, and then I think about 8 years ago I opened Jumbled, which was my homeware store, which had been a dream for mine for ages. And the same thing there. It was a struggle a bit at the start, but definitely because social media was around then, it was just a lot easier to get traction. And I think I knew more, I was a bit wiser and already had clients and customers. But yeah, the dream was to put them in the same building and make that concept store that I'd seen in Europe, like Mercy or Anthropologie in America. And then, yeah, it all happened 4 years ago. We renovated the Masonic Hall, moved them in together, and then business just ramped up even more then again.
Wow.
So it's just been, I guess a slow burn over many, many years. But yeah, started with two tiny, tiny little shops, and yeah, here we are now.
Yeah, well, it's incredible. And like what you were saying before, like in the last 4 years, you've seen some great growth. Like, for those of you who are listening to the podcast that aren't quite sure where Orange is, like you are in the depth of the drought. Like I live in the Riverina and we're in drought, but you guys have, we don't have the water worry so much because we've got the Murray near us. But you guys, to excel in a retail space in the middle of a drought is incredible.
I think, yeah, and I think lots of people think that the drought's broken, I think, because they saw a couple of farmers dancing around in the rain. a few months ago
Yeah.
in Canamble or something like that. I think people are quite probably surprised that Orange is only at 23% water capacity, and I think we have been for about 4 years.
Mm.
When we renovated the shop was when it rained for 6 weeks straight. So that's the last time it rained. But I think because we have online, I like to say online and social media drought proofs your business, but it also corona proofs it and fire proofs it to some extent. Like I think having an online component to our business has meant that you spread your risk. And I think that's the same with having, the different elements that we have in our business, that you are able to not have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, from one small town girl to another, how have you found the townspeople with, what you're doing and the growth and, because you are appealing to a younger demographic, I would assume, with most of your products. Have you found the townspeople have been really embracing, or like, I guess in my town, the tourists are our cream, like the locals support us every day, but it's the tourism that really helps retail out. Is it, have you found the locals have really embraced what you're doing?
And just say Orange is in a really unique position that it's changed so much since I even opened the clothing store. There's so many cool things going on and great businesses doing great things. That the community is really supportive, and the tourism is just, the added cream, which is great and which has been really amazing since lockdown closed. Orange is experiencing extreme growth at the moment. But it's a really cool community, Orange, and I feel like we've kind of got everything that you would need in a town, everything that you could want.
Yeah.
But I also think, the positives outweigh the negatives being in a regional area. I think in business, you might think that you need to be in the big smoke, but you don't need to be. There's just with technology, and your money stretches a lot further out here, I think, and the support of the community is here as well, that I don't know if you would get in a big city.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that that's a great point. The community is different in country towns, or, bigger country towns even, because I think Orange is quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we're about 50,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit bigger than a sleepy country town. But yeah, I think community is just so great. And I guess that's kind of, was part of the question, because, if you haven't got that community and that town supporting you as a business owner, sometimes it can be a really hard slog to make things work.
I 100% think that as well. And often other businesses from other towns will ask me about that because they're finding it a bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And I often suggest, like, it's really nice if you can team up with another business or two that's similar to yours or not. And you can bounce off each other a little bit. We have a great relationship with the gelato store down the road, the Comet Bing Street Boutique Hotel the other side of the road, a beautiful vineyard called Printhy, and I think between the four of us, our businesses are so unrelated.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice community that you can create between one another and help each other in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of our biggest days, in my retail store, I had a kitchen shop, and some of our biggest days is when we did collaborations with other businesses. So, tried to make, street festivals, or, even if it was just half a dozen of us, and we opened and we shared databases and we shared socials and, created events together. They were some of our really biggest days that we had, besides Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve was always just manic. But
isn't it? Who's shopping on Christmas Eve? Like, I sort of am, but I just,
No, that's awesome. Earlier this year, you had an event called Jumbled. So
the huddle.
The huddle, sorry, yes.
Sorry.
I wrote that down wrong. The huddle. Yes. Yeah, so I was just wanting to, have a bit of a chat about that because that was kind of left of field. So you're in retail, you've got beautiful homewares, beautiful clothing, a bit of an art display, and now you've decided to do a live event. What was the idea behind that? Where did that sort of spark come from?
The bank had sent me to a business event 4 years ago up in Noosa for a weekend. And everyone I sat next to was interesting and amazing. And I just thought, wow, I wish this could be in Orange. And then I take tours to Morocco, and everyone on the second last tour that I took, everyone was really some really amazing business women were on the trip. And at every meal I'd just walk away thinking, oh wow, like everyone has a story and it's so interesting. And I love hearing behind, like, the reason behind the business or how it all happened. And then, so I'd sort of been thinking about it, but kind of the time wasn't right either. And then Jess, who works for me, we were both down in Melbourne for a trade fair, and I was sitting next to Melissa Robbins, who owns the Lot Co. And
I had her on my podcast.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Yes, I was sitting next to Melissa and we were just talking, and everything she was saying was just so true and amazing that and there was another person at the dinner that was really knocking regional stores and regional areas and how retailing, she tries to direct them to buy the more beige things, the more safe things. And I was like, oh, I think regional areas, I think you need to get out to come and see us because there's so many cool businesses doing so many wonderful things. And Melissa was just so good she was just amazing. And we walked home from dinner and I was like, we need to get Melissa to Orange. Like, we need to get people like her to our region. And the drought's been so bad. Like, there's no time like the present. Let's just do it. Who would we have? And so we wandered home from this night out, rattling off all the people that we'd invite. And then we literally just started asking people if they would be a mentor at our event. And and Orange was super supportive of it, like our council. It was really good. It was amazing. And it was one of my biggest highlights ever, I think.
Yeah, okay. So what was the hope that people would take away? Like, did you attract mainly retailers or just business owners in general?
So I didn't want to make it just for retailers. It was only for women, and we had 450 women come.
Wow.
But only 49 were local, which I was really sad about at the start, that I was really, here's me saying other communities so supportive and stuff. But yeah, I don't know why that was. But then people came from interstate. People came from Brisbane, Perth. People came in big groups. And that's what blew me away. That's, I think, is actually more amazing than local people coming. But I thought, wow, our reach is a lot bigger than what I thought it would be. But yeah, it was people who had, there were so many different types of businesses. There was accommodation people, there were graphic designers, there were people making products, lawyers, accountants, like pretty much every type of business that you could think of. But some people were just dreaming of starting their own business. Some people just wanted the inspiration. And it was amazing. It was really amazing.
Yeah, no, it looked amazing. I didn't get there. I had a couple of friends who did go, but it looked amazing. And I just thought it's so left of field from retail. Like, it's not very retail-y to, have a big event like that for 450 people, no less.
I think when you've got a small business, you can just go, oh, let's try that. And then we do and see if it works or not. It's sort of, we do that with most things during the day, like, oh, we should do that. Let's try that. So I think that's where you can be nimble. And just give things a go and see if they work. But then once we sort of started getting those numbers, I was pretty stressed in the lead up to it because I really wanted to create a flawless event, even though none of us had ever held an event ever before. So, yeah, it was interesting, but we pulled it off, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You had some pretty amazing guest speakers come. Did you already have a relationship with them, or did you just ask them to come?
Um, Most I had a relationship with already, and I think that helps convincing people to give up a weekend of their time when they're already really busy. But some I just reached out to, like Jane Kay from Bird's Nest.
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't actually met her before, but oh, she was so amazing. She
Yeah.
was really very
Um,
inspiring.
she married a local Korowa boy, so just down the road from
Really?
me. Yeah. Yeah. Our my husband and him did little athletics together. So
Oh, that's so it's a very small world. Yeah, look,
very
I
small
just
world.
think if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you
Yeah.
don't ask the people, then but you have to make it worthwhile for the people as well that you're asking, I think. The same as the guests. I think if you can give them, I really wanted to give them the ultimate orange experience as well. So they stayed in beautiful accommodation and have beautiful meals organized and all sorts of things. But um yeah, it all worked really well, and I guess what we also wanted to showcase was our town of Orange as well, and that's why we did it over a weekend and put different events sort of scattered throughout, so that hopefully people would stay 2 to 3 nights, and that was also beneficial to our community. But you should have seen town; it was very loud, very bright, very lots of laughter for the weekend.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. And it's such a good segue into, I guess, my next question, which was kind of like, if people are listening to this and they're kind of, thinking a little bit about, the huddle or retail, and maybe they're a little bit afraid to take the leap or, to look outside their comfort zone, you do things clearly that are good ideas that you just pull off. It starts with a thought and then you do, and then you tend to pull things off. I'm sure there's things that, are still in the pipe works or are still a dream, but what advice would you have to someone who perhaps, isn't quite willing to take that leap?
Yeah. I also have lots of ideas that I get to even quite late stages, and I get the pin pulled on those as well. So not every idea, I guess, is a great idea.
Yes.
Um, I think if you're thinking of starting something, I would just start it, which sounds obvious, but it can be really daunting. But, even with talking to everyone from the huddle and talking to people on my podcast, like, know that the thing that everyone says is that perfection isn't the thing you need to be aiming towards. Just like one little step forward will get you in the right direction, and not everything has to be perfect right from the start. I think it's an evolving thing. But to also, mum used to always say to me, you don't need the shiny bags to start off with.
Yeah.
So when I was starting my clothing store, I would have loved to have bought the beautiful packaging, the beautiful bags and all that sort of stuff. But it's not really what it's all about. You can get a gorgeous brown paper bag and jazz it up yourself by painting on it or whatever. It's like, I think if you start small and you test things out, go to markets, speak to friends, and um, even other people that are in the industry, like I was saying before, if you don't ask, you don't get. Some people will be very generous with their time and their knowledge, but I just try.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no harm in trying. When I started Jumbled, it was the tiniest shop. It would have fitted in this little room here, and I had a $50,000 loan, and you just start small.
Yeah.
And you don't have to quit. If you have a job, you don't have to quit. You could just cut back a couple of days. And
Yeah.
I think that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, I know when I started my retail shop, I went into partnership with my best friend, and she's still my best friend. We've been best friends since we were 14.
Good.
But
That's
I,
lucky.
yeah, it was really lucky. But I was working a couple of days a week, and I kept that. And so, we sort of had 2 days without each other and then one day together, and then we worked weekends together type of thing. But I kept my 2 day a week job because that was my fallback plan, because
I think so.
I'd never done retail. I came from law, and all of a sudden I found myself with a key and a retail shop under my belt. So I was like, whoa, how did this happen?
Yeah.
It happened because of wine. But anyway.
Why all good things happen, I reckon.
Yes, that's right. That's right. But yeah, no, definitely just sort of, just start and, make sure, and comparisonitis. So if someone wants to start a retail shop, I guess, not look to something like the Sonic and think you have to get there overnight. That's
I
been obviously a
know.
journey for you.
Well, a lady came in, funny you say that, but a lady came in yesterday and she had a retail store and she's talking to me at the counter and she's like, I've got a store and I had dreams of doing something like this, but I just haven't quite got there yet. And I'm like, this has been in the making for like a really long time. You don't, I was like, my first shop would have fitted just where those couches are. You have to start somewhere. And it's like when you buy a house, you're probably not buying your forever house to start off with, that, you probably hopefully will get bigger and evolve and things like that. But you do have to be careful at the start, don't you? Because so many don't make it.
No, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. So how do you juggle work, family? Like you've got a young family. So, how do you juggle all that with all your commitments and everything like that? Do you have any advice for anyone who's listening who's doing the juggle that most parents have to do?
Oh, I probably don't do it well most of the time. I have a really, really lovely husband who's very hands-on and supportive, and especially with our kids. And our boys, got two little boys that are 6 and 8, and they're just such good little boys, and they're great. But more, my staff in the store are wonderful. I guess it's about, you can have everything, but you kind of can't do everything. You know what I mean? So that's what I sort of think it as. So there's always something going wrong somewhere. So with, like, for the huddle, let's say, it was a huge success for me personally and for the business, but my family life was super shit.
Yeah.
Like they all hated my guts pretty much. So I was like, "Oh, it was so amazing. Like, I don't think you all understand, but they don't care. They only want you to be good while they're with you." So I think it's a learning thing as well, and trying to be present and, I don't know. It's also being present for everyone, isn't it? For your friends, for your customers, for your staff, for your family. But it's just knowing that you've got to let go a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? You can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time or something.
Yeah, I
And it's definitely
know.
like that.
I know. And yeah, it's whatever's going well, there'll be another area that's really failing. So if I'm really doing really well at the shop, my house looks like a bomb's gone off, you know. And the same, if it's going really well at home, it's probably some crazy things going on here at the shop. But as long as everyone knows that, I think that, on socials, you are putting your best life forward. That,
Yeah.
But you can tell people that too. It's nice to, whenever anyone's having a baby, any of my friends, I'm like, oh my gosh, just so you know, like, I don't want to scare you or anything, but I hated my husband for like a whole year. That I just want, and my husband's like, stop telling people that. And I was like, no, I just want them to know that it's normal not to be great all the
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, you mightn't think that's very wise advice, but I think it is very wise advice. Thank you.
Pleasure. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this one, because then he'll be mad.
We'll keep it a secret.
Yeah, yeah.
So you are pretty Instagram famous. You're very Insta famous. Well, I think you are for a country girl doing amazing things. Do you
Oh,
have any
thanks.
tips for people who want to up their Instagram or really just their social media as a whole? Like, do you have any tips for people?
I have loads of social media tips. I'm super, it's a love-hate relationship
Yeah,
really
yeah,
with it, but
always.
I'm super passionate about it for people using it for their business. My tips would be that, like, even starting a business, just do it.
Yep.
Don't overthink it. Just do it, because really it's free and you get access to your audience multiple times a day if you want, for no money, and it doesn't have to be salesy and pushy. People are actually on their social media because they're seeking inspiration, or they're wanting to buy stuff, or they're just wanting joy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really great platform that you can utilize. But I think, and you can also, I think it's a really great way for a business, whether they're, especially being regional, because I think it gives you a really interesting point of difference. But you can really show who you are and who your brand is, and it doesn't have to be super polished. I think you can just have a bit of fun with it, and that's kind of what people are seeking at the moment, that
Yeah.
authenticity. And but I think just post the thing, don't overthink it, just put it up, and yeah, you can pull it down later if you want to, but you won't. Don't bother. Just keep building, and it's the same as, like we were saying, with the tiny baby shop and the $50,000 loan. Like, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I look back at photos that I took a year ago or 2 years ago or a month ago that I thought were really great. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was really cool. But, like, things change, and you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things that I find so great about your Instagram is that you guys keep showing up. It's one of the biggest things that I find with small business owners is that people don't want to put themselves on their social. They're all about their brand or all about their business. But I love the way
Yeah.
that, you guys keep putting yourselves out there.
Well, I didn't used to do that either. So, hate my voice, hate my face. And so I would avoid that at all costs. Don't mind my hands, don't mind my feet. So my feet would always be in my hands. But, I did, I guess Insta stories have really changed the game
Yes.
again
Yeah.
for the better, in terms of just being able to pop things up and not think too much about it. And lots of people were saying that they're going to the stories and not really the feed anymore. So it only lasts for 24 hours. So just go crazy and it doesn't really matter. But I think I did something where I spoke through a catalogue saying what I liked and what I didn't like, and it did really well. And I was like, oh, I might try that again, and did it again differently. And then I showed my face, and people were, that worked really well. So I think, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do this. And then so it's been like a little evolution, because we're
Yeah.
all super self-conscious of
Oh, yeah.
ourselves. But someone said the other day, and I was like, oh God, it's so true for so many things in life. Like, no one cares about the pimple on your face because they're so worried about the one on theirs. Like, you know, no one cares what you're doing. Everyone, yeah. So just do it. Everyone is ultra critical of themselves, rather than, like, no one else would think that. So
Yeah.
I think just put yourself out there, even if it's like, I challenge people to just put one picture of themselves up and tell their story,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see what sort of traction they get back. And maybe that gives them the confidence to do it again, maybe later in a different way or something like that.
Yeah, I love that challenge. That's so good. I remember, I didn't like my voice or my face
Oh,
on
both are
social media.
lovely.
Well, I was going to say, for a person who doesn't like their voice with you, and now you've got your own podcast, that's, that's
I
a
know.
very big evolution. But we'll get to your podcast in a sec. But I always remember my friend Sam, I was complaining to him about the way I looked and sounded on video. And he just looked at me, he goes, but that's the same as what you look and sound to me right now with no video. Like, so I don't know what you're complaining about. And I was kind of like, it made me cry at the time, but it was just so true. Like,
Yeah, you're like, get over yourself.
yeah, I looked
It's
and
fine.
yeah, like people look at me and hear me every day in the supermarket or in my family and things like that. And it's just that, I might put on some lipstick for a video, like,
I know. I think it's just best not to think that anyone's even going to watch it, because
Yeah.
they're probably really not. If you think about it, like, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. I think that's
Yeah.
the theme
Yeah.
of our podcast interview
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Has someone got that copyrighted? I'm
I
not really
don't know.
sure.
Probably not.
No,
We
I
should do it
reckon.
ourselves.
Yeah, I reckon we could trademark Just Do It.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh dear. So what's next? What's next for the Sonic? What's next for the Jumbled?
I don't know. I think before Corona, I think someone had asked me that, and I was like, oh, I just really want to like slow down a bit, not grow too much, just be like, get things right and enjoy it, But then Corona happened, and that's just thrown everything into a bit of chaos. But I think at the core of that, it was such a lovely time for so many reasons, because it did give a lot of clarity on what's important and things like that. So I do want to be good, looking after my health and my family, and all that stuff that you just and I want to be a really good boss to my staff. I just want to enjoy what we're doing, really.
Yep.
And so I don't think there's any real plans for something crazy, but it's more, I'd love to do another huddle. I'd love to create more of our own product, like just be challenged creatively. I think that's where it's at for us. Just that's been my most like proudest moments have probably been, we just recently did our collaboration with Robert Gordon, and that was just a total dream come true, really.
Yeah.
And to now have it in my hot little hands is pretty amazing. So I think stuff like that. I think nothing crazy, just try and be better, happier, more awake. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. The collaboration that you did with Robert Gordon was beautiful. Robert Gordon was something that we had quite a bit of in our shop, but I just loved the way you, they came to you and they came to a cotton field in the middle of nowhere. And, it was just, I loved the rural aspect of it. And I guess from my business, I used to do marketing and social media, always lived on the farm, but it was very much in Melbourne with, a partnership that I had, and found it really hard to embrace my ruralness, if that's a word.
Yes.
Whereas now it's kind of like, this is who I am. And and I just love that you're putting rural on the map as well. It warms my heart.
I just think there's probably a lot of things working in the towards that ruralness as celebrating it, perhaps, with Buy from the Bush and Grazier magazine, which I think is so beautiful. I just think there's lots of, I think it's something that we should all celebrate, and it's part of our stories. And I'm super proud of it. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. And so I think that being from a regional area is definitely has been a huge positive for us.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. What a great way to finish off the podcast. I've been so thankful for you to share your time with me today, Pip. I think you're an inspiration to so many, even if you don't know it. I think that you are, and I just love what you're doing. I love that you're putting rural on the map, but you're taking so many people along the ride with you as well, with the huddle and everything else that you do. So I can't thank you enough for giving up your couple of hours or an hour or so to come on and have a bit of a chat.
Thank you. It's been so lovely, and it's lovely to talk to someone else from a regional area as well, which is lovely. That's doing it for everyone. It's good. That's good.
So, Pip, if anyone wants to check out the Sonic or, Jumbled or online or the Huddle, where's the best place for them to get in contact with you?
Oh, so you could come and visit us in Orange and come to the Sonic, or our website's jumbledonline.com, or on Instagram, we're at jumbledonline. So yeah, come and
Beautiful.
see
And you've also
us.
got a podcast.
Oh, yes, 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 a podcast with my awful voice. Sorry. Yeah, it's called Jumbled Loves a Chat, because I do love a chat. And so, yeah, we have a glass of bubbly and just hear interesting stories from interesting people.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's I love just the retail aspect of it and talking to the questions that you ask and the information you get. It's great podcast. So highly recommend
Oh,
people
thank
go and
you.
listen to Jumbled Loves a Chat.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, it's been great. It's been good. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, Pip, thank you so very much for coming on the podcast. Sincerely appreciate it, and look forward to maybe meeting in person one day.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Thank you.
Thanks. Holy smoke. I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did making it. Again, Pip is like, she makes me wish I was still in retail, and I can't tell you how huge that is for me to say. I do not normally miss retail other than working with my best friend every day. All the links to check out Jumbled Online and get to know Pip a little bit better are, of course, in the show notes. But that's all for episode 83. As I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, it is sponsored by my 6-week mini mastermind. If you're keen to find out how to get involved, then be quick, but you can go to bit.ly/mastermind with Jen. So bit.ly/mastermind with Jen. Hey, I'm just popping in here to interrupt my own podcast because I want to let you know some huge news. You see, as this podcast goes live, my side passion project is becoming something massive, huge, and oh so exciting. As I mentioned earlier in this podcast, I have a Facebook group with enough people to fill a small city. It's called Buy From a Bush Business, and it has about 265,000 Facebook group members. And today, like right probably as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it as it goes live, our brand new marketplace website goes live. Oh my God, I'm so stoked. I've been in tears of joy and excitement for days to announce this. So this is kind of like my soft announcement here to my podcast audience, as I'll have, my fellow side hustlers on the podcast really soon to tell you more. But basically, the amazing ladies at Spend With Us, Lauren and Sarah, and I have joined forces to create a marketplace website. Spend With Us, Buy From a Bush Business Marketplace. So head over and have a look at our new marketplace, a place for rural and regional businesses to sell their goods and aid seriously in the recovery of drought, fires, flood, and now coronavirus. I'm not quite sure what else can be thrown at some of these small business owners. So head to spendwithus.com.au and check it out. I hope you'll support us and support the rural businesses on our platform, and make sure you keep coming back a lot, as we grow, so you can see the changes as well. Okay, that's all I wanted to interrupt and say. Now for the proper goodbyes. So do you have questions? Head into the Like-Minded Business Owners group and ask away. Or, of course, you can send me a DM on Instagram or email me at jen@jendonovan.com.au. Just to let you know, on Instagram, my tag is Small Business Made Simple. But I will, of course, be back next Thursday with another great episode to simplify your business in 2020. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I would really love for you to leave a rating and a review if you have 2 seconds of your time. Or maybe you could even share it with another business owner who's doing that daily grind and would really appreciate you making their business life a little bit simpler. I, of course, will see you right back on the podcast blah, blah, blah. I will, of course, see you back. See how excited I am that, I'm launching this marketplace. I can't even talk. All right. Okay, so I will see you back on the podcast for episode 84, and boy, is there going to be a party like there's no tomorrow when I hit 100 episodes. I cannot believe there are 84 of them 83 of them out there now. In the meantime, let's hang out and get social on social. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, LinkedIn. But whatever you do, my small business peeps, remember, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Tell her like you feel it, say it proud, be true.